Have you ever wondered if insects have blood? It's a question that might seem simple, but when you dig a little deeper, the answer is fascinating. From tiny ants to buzzing bees, insects are some of the most diverse and resilient creatures on the planet. They may not have a heart that pumps blood the way ours does, but they have a unique way of keeping their bodies running. In this video, we'll explore what's really inside an insect's body, how their blood is different from ours, and why they don't actually need it to carry oxygen. By the end, you'll have a whole new perspective on these tiny but extraordinary creatures. Before we start, please like, comment, and subscribe. Insects don't have blood or hemoglobin like vertebrates do. So how does gas exchange occur, and what is the purpose of hemolymph? The body cavity of insects, containing the essential organs, is bathed in a liquid called hemolymph, which is only vaguely analogous to blood. In vertebrates, blood is mainly associated with carrying oxygen to the tissues and removing carbon dioxide, but hemolymph contains no respiratory compounds like hemoglobin. Instead, gas exchange occurs directly between the tissues and minute-breathing ducts, trachea, which thread through each segment of the body. The main purpose of hemolymph is to transport nutrients around the insect's body. A rudimentary pumping circulation system takes the liquid from a sump in the abdomen through one-way pores and into a muscular vessel running along the back of the insect. Inconsistently sometimes called the heart at the rear and the aorta near the front, this tubular conduit moves the blood forwards, where it floods out into the head capsule before permeating its way back to the main body cavity again. Yes, insects do have a fluid that serves a similar purpose to blood, but it's not quite the same as the blood we find in humans and other animals. Insects have an open circulatory system, which is quite different from our closed circulatory system. Instead of having veins and arteries to transport blood, insects have a body cavity filled with a fluid called hemolymph. This hemolymph is the insect equivalent of blood, but it's not as specialized. In humans, blood is responsible for transporting oxygen throughout the body, thanks to a molecule called hemoglobin in our red blood cells. Hemoglobin binds to oxygen in our lungs and delivers it to our cells, allowing them to produce energy. However, in most insects, hemolymph doesn't carry oxygen because they don't rely on their circulatory system for respiration. Instead, insects have a network of tubes called tracheae that deliver oxygen directly to their tissues. The tracheal system is much more efficient for smaller organisms like insects, allowing them to meet their oxygen needs without depending on a blood-borne transport system. Hemolymph does have important roles, though. It helps transport nutrients, hormones, and waste products throughout the insect's body, just like blood does in animals with a closed circulatory system. It also helps maintain the insect's internal pressure, providing structure and support, especially when they're molting or when they use muscles to move. The heart in an insect is more like a tube, and it pumps the hemolymph towards the head. From there, the fluid flows freely through the body cavity and around the organs. Unlike human blood, hemolymph isn't red. It's often pale, greenish, or yellow because it lacks hemoglobin. While hemolymph doesn't carry oxygen, it contains cells called hemocytes, which are involved in the immune response. Hemocytes can help fight off pathogens or foreign objects that enter the insect's body. When an insect is injured, hemocytes work to clot the wound and form a barrier against infection. In some insect species, hemolymph can also play a defensive role. For instance, certain beetles can produce a foul-smelling or toxic hemolymph to deter predators. This is another way hemolymph serves insects beyond what we typically think of blood doing in larger animals. So while insects don't have blood in the way we understand it, their hemolymph performs many functions that help sustain them. It's part of an efficient system, uniquely adapted to their physiology and size. Hemolymph is crucial for their survival and serves a range of roles that support an insect's life and help it adapt to its environment.